Now. So we're set. Thank you very much for doing this again for me, by the way.
Twice as good the second time.
That's right. That's right.
Iterative design, man.
Oh, it's good. So, yeah, be
I had, a
smoother this
kid,
time at least.
I had a kid come to me crying one time because he had lost his science report, and I said, "Just imagine how fast you're going to do it this time. It's going to be easy, man.
That's
Another
right.
day, it's all good."
It's
And
always easier the second time.
and he comes back and he goes, "Dude, that really was easier." I go, "I know. You know what you're doing."
That's right. For instance, I'm actually recording this time. So that's good. That's good.
Yep.
All right. So I'll try to make it a little bit shorter this time. We'll get this done. So just if you can do a quick, just introduce yourself and who you are, where you teach, and where you work.
Yes. It's been a long day for anybody who's
Yes.
watching this recording. I had 25 superintendents today at our event that we were running at Skywalker Ranch. And so I'm a little wacky right now. I'm a little punchy.
Right.
So it's been a long day, but amazing. We had enough superintendents there. The superintendents that were there represented about 100,000 students.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Okay. So that's cool, right?
Yeah.
So that's all of my career, I guess, right now. So working backwards, I like to describe myself as a formerly disgruntled student. I was pretty much 293 all the way through until I hit Fresno State and specifically got into the advertising section, which was hands-on.
Right.
And so you're making commercials, you're making slogans, you're making ads, making mock-ups, and then doing reports. And I really fell in love with that. And that for me made school totally make sense. So emergency credential, went to work for Clovis in 96, I think. April Fool's is my first day of teaching. I'm not making that up.
Awesome.
Taught for about 10 years in K-8 in a couple of different districts, and then ended up opening Minarets High School, which was a Google-ready, MacBook-equipped high school that was project-based learning from day one. In 2008, when you could still get burned at the stake for going Google, right?
Right.
I literally had IT people calling me saying, "You can't do this." And I was like, "What are you talking about, man?" Because, well, the funny part was this is 2008. I'd had kids on Hotmail since 96. So Google looked really safe by comparison.
Sure.
And then went up and worked for almost 2 years for Mariposa. I was the assistant superintendent of the county up there doing curriculum and instruction stuff when the Q job opened, which was really the job I was looking for. And so now I'm the director of academic innovation for Q. We trained about 12,000 teachers last year in just our division. Q trained about 20,000 teachers last year if you count the conferences, which is pretty cool. My group in particular more than quadrupled the amount of teachers we served in 1 year. So we went from about 2,500 to about 12,000. Feeling really good about that, getting a lot of good connections. And, it's like ripples in a pond, right? Every time I can get one teacher to back up and go, why am I a slave to worksheets? What is good about word searches? I don't even grade them. Why am I sending kids to Michael's Art Supply to buy mission reports instead of doing it in Minecraft? Every time I can get one teacher to think like that, it adds up. It's like grains of sand on a beach, and one day you wake up and it's not a regular beach anymore. It's white sand beach or black sand beach, and it's different. And it's just a micro thing, and you got to work in those small groups. So that's a little of my background.
That's awesome. So quick question: Were you always interested in technology, or is that something that you got into because of education, or was it something that you liked and you realized you also liked education, you combined the two?
I think combined the two. Bear in mind, I'm not a programmer. I don't do hard code. I don't know Photoshop. I just tinker on web design. For me, a computer is just a tool that makes me more me.
Right.
If that makes sense. So I'm not one of these people that do really deep technology things. What I use computers to do is to enhance ideas I have, or share ideas I have, or tell stories. I do a lot. I've done a lot with Final Cut Pro, so I've got some video expertise. But to me, it's always about the people part. So I'm not one of those. I really don't like getting characterized as a techie teacher
Sure.
because internet for kids to find out research instead of a stupid textbook. I'm not sure if that really makes me a techie teacher.
Right.
But I did work somewhat in the technology sector, like computer repair kind of stuff.
Sure.
And when I was in contracting, I had a 286 laptop that I could hook to a Motorola flip phone. And through a cellular connection, I could dial into a school
Right.
and monitor their air conditioning systems. So I guess, a little bit geeky.
Sure.
But for me, there's always been this marriage between how do we make school suck less? And a really easy way to make school suck less is to give kids access to build stuff and then watch them do it. And I'm frankly not that interested in watching kids write essays on paper.
Right.
Kind of boring. I'm not interested in writing in kids filling out blank worksheets. Not that good. So I've always tried to have a twist or an angle or something on the deal, and technology just helps to facilitate that.
Yeah, no, I like that. I think we talked last time. You had a good quote. You said,
"Oh yeah, teaching. We need teacher geeks who can use tech.
Right.
We don't need tech geeks who can teach.
Right.
And I don't mean to offend the latter group, but what we really need is people who are into teaching and learning. It just so happens that we're comfy with using tech is a very different outcome than, I just don't know if I don't know. I don't know if this technology thing is going to take off.
Yeah, makes sense.
If I can make it 5 years, I won't have to learn Outlook. Are you freaking kidding me?
So you have quite a big network, right? And I mean that in sense of you have a blog that's read by a lot of people. You have
I do not have a blog. That's the funny thing.
Oh, you have a website. You have a website.
Yeah, I have a website, but no blog. My Twitter is my
Nope.
blog. I'm too busy tweeting the blog.
And your Twitter, that's the big one. When I'm on looking at Twitter, you're definitely around on Twitter.
I like to. That's what I was going to say. I'm around.
Yeah, I like that.
And I don't tweet that much. It's maybe 7 or 8 a day. But I think that what I bring to Twitter is I try to be a clutter breaker. If I tweet or retweet something, it's going to be, unless I'm harassing my friends, then that's, the all. If you see a tweet from me, it's going to be something that makes you go, oh crap, we should probably look at that. So it's not that I do 40 tweets a day or 50. Like if you look at my Twitter analytics, most days I tweet about 4 tweets.
Sure.
I'll do 6 or 8 retweets. Mm-hmm. So I'm not really, although if you look at my count, I think I'm at 63,000 tweets. So clearly I'm doing something. But my goal on Twitter is to have people see that tweet and go, in a nutshell, that's what I'm going to do different. That's what I'm always looking for. When they see it, they go, I get it. I'm not doing that anymore. Right. And then sometimes we get in Twitter battles about things, which I enjoy them. I love the Twitter battles.
Do you think, so I'm currently part of this class is about building our PLN, right? Our personal learning network. Do you think the way to build that, so, did you think, did your following come from the fact that you were posting interesting things first, or was it that you got a following from following other people and then you started posting things and it got bigger? Is it like the chicken before the egg? What is the trick here coming from your view?
Well, I will tell you, if you look at my metrics, because you can actually go into Twitter and download all your tweets. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah. So if you want to know what your first tweet is, you can literally go into Twitter and it says download archive. And so it allows you to then open those up in a browser window and search only your tweets.
Oh, great.
It's pretty cool. So like I can go back and look up the first tweet from Alice Keeler. So if I search Alice Keeler and scroll to the bottom, that's our first tweet together. It's way easier than search it. But I would say my Twitter metric goes like this. I sat flatline for a good 3 years. And then you can see, I think it's in 2008 or 9, it goes bloop and it jumps up. And so I lurked for a long time. A lot of it was just lurking. I started retweeting things that I thought broke the clutter. That was my trick.
Okay.
I wasn't just retweeting LeBron James stuff, just like blah, just stuff. Nothing against LeBron. He's cool. But
Sure.
what I was retweeting was something that I thought was breaking the clutter. And my operating thesis in education is we're just not doing it right.
Sure.
We're working hard. I love that. Teachers are dedicated. I love that. But I don't think it matters you're working on the wrong plan.
Sure.
So my whole thing has been we're doing it wrong, here's how to do it right. We're doing it wrong, here's how to do it right. Here's proof that we're doing it wrong. Here's a different way to look at. And so what was really interesting in my Twitter evolution was that I started meeting a few people in real life that I'd been tweeting with, and then what happened on our Twitter stream was these really good educational things, and then Friday night about 6 it turned into pizza and beer.
Got it.
And this is before there was an Instagram. So all weekend we would be tweeting about food, and then we would come back in to work. So all week it was just work. But then it was like, so that really kind of welded us together as a group.
Sure.
And then Alice helped a lot by retweeting me, and it's been a very just kind of gradual climb. So it didn't go like
Got it.
1,000, 13,000.
Sure.
The other thing I think that really helped spread that network, and I would encourage everybody to get involved with, is Twitter chats.
Sure.
That's where you really expand your reach and your depth with people, because you're in a disparate group than your normal friend group.
Right.
If you only tweet with your friends, the only people that see your tweets are your friends.
Makes sense. Yeah.
But when you're in a Twitter chat, like with California Ed Chat, and there's 700 teachers in, and if you tweet something that's good, they're going to go, I'm going to check that guy out.
Got it. Yeah.
And that's what really kind of accelerates it that way.
Okay. No, I like that. So you mentioned something that's been on my mind a bit. It's the idea of, you said on the weekends, you're tweeting about pizza and beer. So I've had this dilemma in my mind, which is, reading the textbooks that we're reading, right? It's about having a very professional, educational account versus your personal account.
Yeah. I have one persona, dude. I have one persona.
Right.
There is not. Look. Okay, let me cut to the chase. When you become a teacher, people are talking about your crap,
right?
Whether you want them to or not. So having a separate life makes no sense.
Right.
So if you think that you can have a fake Twitter handle and either insult people or do your drinking pictures or just whatever your political aspects are,
sure,
and have a totally separate persona, you're crazy.
Right.
Whether that's Facebook or wherever. So what I chose is, this is me. I'm a professional educator 24/7. I'm around kids 24/7, or I'm about kids 24/7. I'm about good ideas 24/7. I'm about being an American citizen who happens to be an educator 24/7. I don't see any good reason to split that.
Right. I like that. I agree with that. Cool.
And when I was running a high school, I had a couple kids tweeted some things, and I saw them because they were in my feed and they weren't so good. And I literally I DM'd a couple of them and I said, "Dude, you're better than that."
Right.
That was it. I'm not your dad. I'm not trying to be your dad. I think you're better than that. And you know what happened in most cases? The kids DM me back and said, "I'm sorry, Crip. I'll delete it."
Right.
I didn't ask them to delete it. I was just like, I think you're better than that.
Sure.
And so a lot of those kids that I've moved forward with in that group, they post really smart, insightful stuff. And I think that me being able to engage them as an adult, not their teacher, did not hurt on that process.
Sure. Okay. No, I like that one.
Or let me extend that analogy some more.
Sure.
Do you have kids right now?
No, I don't have my own kids.
Oh, damn it. This question won't work. No, I'm just kidding. If you had kids,
mm-hmm.
and if they were 10 or 12,
right,
and if they went to a youth group of some type, I don't care the denomination.
Sure.
If your youth group pastor told you, "I'm not talking to your kids on social media. This is my business."
Right. Understood.
Isn't that a little weird?
That's very strange.
I don't want to talk to your kids when I'm not at work as a youth minister.
Right.
That's weird, right? Now, extend that into this. If your kids are a cheerleader or a football player, would you expect them to have the coach's cell number? It's reasonable.
Yeah.
If your kid's
Sure.
in FFA, do you think they would have the teacher's cell number?
Sure.
If the kids are in student leadership or the art club, are they going to have the teacher's cell number?
Yes.
So why does it sound stupid for them to have their English teacher's phone number
Right.
or their math teacher's phone number? Where is this line that we've made up that it's inappropriate to have your math teacher's cell number? It's nuts.
Yeah.
If you're in a college class right now, what do you get?
Cell phone number. Text me whenever.
But if you're a sophomore in high school, it's not okay to have your English teacher's cell phone number.
Right. Makes sense.
Because frankly, as the teacher, if you send me some crap I don't want, I'm going to screenshot it and send it to the superintendent.
Right.
So I got you busted on a level that you cannot even imagine. And the flip side is, if I'm an educator that's going to send creepy stuff to kids, that's going to happen anyways.
Right. Sure.
It's been happening since I was in school without cell phones.
Right.
So the cell phone's really not a factor. So that's that whole. If you're gonna be an educator, you're gonna be an educator 24/7.
Mm-hmm.
You don't go out and be an ass or a drunk or a partier and then come to school and clean it all up. So I don't see any kind of separation there. In fact, one of my favorite days was one of our kids who had graduated in June. Around October, he tweeted me and he said, "Cribbo, I just looked you up on Google and it's like a Hall of Fame." Why would a kid who's graduated from my school be looking me up on Google, right? So he just Googled my name.
Sure.
But the point was, what did he see? He saw a guy who's totally committed to education.
Right.
What teacher would not want that?
Yeah, that's awesome.
And then I also call it the Ted Kaczynski principle, right? If I Google you and you don't show up, dude, that's weird.
That is weird.
If there's a black hole where your name is, dude, that's weird.
Yeah.
What is up with that? I believe he's eating human flesh.
Yeah.
Off the grid.
Yeah, that's a fake name. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't see any reason why we would hold back from that perspective.
Right. Okay, cool. I like that. So going back to the PLN idea, do you use LinkedIn? Do you see any use in LinkedIn as an educator?
As an educator, no. Okay. But I do. I like LinkedIn from the point of view of well, probably I like it because I have like over 100 recommendations in 9 categories, so that's probably why. I think that it is a good tool. I'm not sure how critical it is. I think it may be overplayed a little bit.
Sure.
I don't see any negatives.
Right. There's no. Yeah. Okay. Makes sense.
But when I'm interviewing for a job, it feels really good to screenshot over 100 recommendations in 8 or 9 categories and go,
yeah.
I'd like you to compare that to your current LinkedIn profile. Most superintendents do not have that. So is that cool? Yeah, it's cool. Is it scalable?
Okay. So I teach video production. I love video. And one of the things that I see is, I like using, I mean, especially since I teach video, is using various video technology in classes. I know you use video as well in some of your education, but the idea of interactive video or VR or 360 video, do you see that being a part of of education in a big way, in any way?
I don't know. I like the Theta Cam idea. I think it's cool.
Yeah.
I've seen some people that do things like they build a story
and
then put the 360 camera on it. I don't know that we've hit Pokemon Go level with the 360 camera, right?
Sure.
I like it. Like, for example, here's an example. I would love to have a school tour of my school where I've got a 360 shot in every classroom. And on my webpage, you can go through and see every classroom and not posed. I would tell the kids, tomorrow I'm going to come through. I'm going to take a picture with a theta. When I do it, I don't want you to move.
Right.
I just want you to be doing your thing. Then after I do that, I'm going to tell you, now you can pose. And we'll put that picture in the yearbook. But what I want to see first is what happens when I just hit the button.
Right.
I want to see people not in rows. I want to see people in little groups. I want to see not everybody on a computer at the same time.
Right.
I want to see what it looks like. Once I get that shot, we can do the cool yearbook shot. And if you guys want to be in a ring around me or whatever you want to do, that's great. But beyond that, I'm not sure that I see any like gotta have it uses. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I think for like marketing schools and yearbook, but I'm not seeing like the killer app for a 360 shot.
Sure.
And I'm going to keywords here are yet. Now, I'm the same guy that when the first iPod came out, I thought Steve Jobs has freaking lost it this time. This is the stupidest, stupid thing. I'm never going to spend $500 for one of those.
Right.
Oh, no. Now I've probably got 80.
Yeah.
Right? Because my kids have like 5 each. It's like,
Sure.
So I don't want to say that there's no value. I do want to say I don't see the vision yet.
Sure.
Of what it could be.
Okay, that's fair.
And I'm going to do the same with Google Expeditions. Really cool. I'm not sure how it changes a classroom yet.
Right.
It's cool. But bear in mind, this is back to the ed tech question. I think that doing a Venn diagram in Google Drawing is really cool.
Right.
So that's good learning. That's good thinking. It's solid. Google Drawing allows it to be fluid and easy.
Sure.
And since I'm an English teacher, I think that's attractive. But I'm not seeing a long-term beyond the gee whiz effect for VR, or I think it's coming.
Right.
I like some of the, yeah, but it's still kind of gadgety. Like, okay, so my second grader can color a fire truck, and it pops up on his AR screen. That's really cool. I don't know how that's making school as an academic pursuit better necessarily.
Sure.
I think it's great, but I'm not sure yet. So I'm holding out on that one.
Okay. All right. Okay. So your question about your site. You have there's a lot of great content on your site. And I asked you this last time. I'm going to kind of re-ask you again. Is the beauty of an educator's website as important as the content on that website?
I'll take content over beauty every time. Except the flip side is, if they can't find your stuff, then you have beauty issues, right? So it was like, I don't know if you know Kevin Honeycutt. He was working at the event today at Skywalker. He's got 51,000 followers. Pretty legit. And he stood right in front of us and said, "Oh my God, my webpage is the biggest experience in ADD you'll ever see. You just have to dig around, and if you see something you like, have a good time." But again, I think it's because he's really busy being face to face. He doesn't spend long weekends tweaking his webpage for optimal looks.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm just gonna a couple wrap up questions.
Okay.
Are you an Android or iPhone guy?
iPhone.
iPhone. So I'm gonna
tell you why. There's a technical reason. A lot of people say, "Well, all my music's at iTunes," or "I like the ecosystem." There are specific things I don't like about Android OS, and one of them is malware. I don't need a virus on my phone.
Right.
So that's one of the biggies. And then the other one would be, oh my gosh, I had another reason. But it would be malware and viruses would be the determining factor for me. Google Store is not, and it's an interesting juxtaposition, because there's a lot of people that feel that Apple locks down their experience, and they say, "But I want my phone camera to do these 900 things that frankly I don't care about."
Sure.
But I respect that they want to do that. But what comes with that is less stability. And guess what I need? I need it to work.
Yeah.
So the people that don't like the Apple Store because it doesn't have every single app ever made don't understand that when you put in every single app that is ever made, sometimes you're emailing your credit card information to Bulgaria.
Right.
So for me, it's not just the device itself; it's the security aspect is a pretty good factor.
Okay.
Also, I have a problem with people that copy. So Melania Trump reference. So if that pisses you off, how can you stand to use a phone that looks exactly like an iPhone? You think that's okay, right? It's okay to use an Android phone, which looks exactly like an iPhone. You don't think there's a conflict there. So it's like,
do you see any? You use a lot of Google stuff. So do you use Chromebooks in classes? Is that a big thing, or in classrooms is it still? 'Cause
uh,
Chromebooks are fairly locked down. I mean, they're pretty secure as well. So is that
yeah,
something that you see?
yeah.
Okay.
That doesn't spill over to the Chrome side. That's strictly.
Okay.
Um, and in my dream school, kids would use all the tools. If I was a superintendent, I would make sure that at different grade ranges, kids were using iPads. At
Mhm.
other different grade ranges, they would be using touch-enabled Chromebooks. At
Sure.
other different grade ranges, they'd have MacBook Airs. And at other
Okay.
different grade ranges, they might be running Linux on a PC box.
Sure.
And I'm going to just tell you what that would look like when they graduate. They'd all be badasses.
Right. That's exactly they would.
Isn't that a pretty good goal for school?
That's a great goal for school. Yeah, and they'd be
Like, what
prepared
do you
for.
want? Like, what do you want? Oh, you got some Windows? I can do that. You
Mhm.
got a Linux box? Hold on a second here. I'll download my favorite flavor of Linux.
Right.
That's a totally different approach between this. My school was Novell. My school is Chromebooks, and I like Chromebooks, but I don't think kids should leave high school without using some pro apps.
Sure.
You should not leave high school without using Pro Tools, SketchUp, Final Cut. And here's why. There's a very specific reason. Once you've figured out one or two pro apps, you can figure them all out.
Right. Absolutely.
If
Yeah,
you
that's
if
something
you,
that I
if
learned.
you get yeah, if you get two pro apps, and I don't mean Office. Office doesn't count as a pro app.
Right.
But if you're good on SketchUp and I give you Final Cut, you'll go, oh, well, this is just like this. Once you see that level of sophistication, you start figuring things out really fast.
Yeah.
And I think, or like even better, Mike Niehoff and I are always designing our imaginary high school. That's like what we do for fun, like our ideal high school. And one of my latest examples of the imaginary perfect high school would be that when before your freshman year, you pick 6 pro apps you want to learn out of a list of 12 or 13, and you live in that app no matter what class you're in.
Oh, that's cool.
So if you're in an English class and you pick Final Cut, all your English projects are documentaries.
Yeah.
If you picked Pro Tools, all your English projects are interviews.
Right. Radio plays,
Right?
interviews. Yeah. Yeah.
So you are now you're now tool centric to get the work done instead of the teacher deciding the tool. But I want you to visualize this the next time you're out in public. Look around. How many of the people around you know 5 pro apps? Not many.
Very
So
few.
that's how you get a nation of badasses. That's
Mhm.
how that happens. If every kid's graduating with 3 to 5 pro apps, that's what a nation of badasses looks like. And we do
Right.
not currently look like that. We look like people who can barely figure out Facebook.
We look like a
And
nation
school's
of
not
people.
helping.
Yeah. A nation that still hasn't figured out how to
Can you
set
make
their
Instagram?
VCR.
Can you make Instagram similar? There's too many buttons.
One last question for you. If you had one thing under
Yes.
$100 that has changed your life, what would it be?
That's going to be my Mophie juice pack. My Mophie tab. I got my little. Let's see. Oh, I already shot my battery for today. Yeah, $79. Mophie helium juice pack. It means that I can get a full day out of the iPhone without
Right.
plugging into anything. So that gives me fluidness in my day.
I love it. That's awesome. And that's it. Thank you again.
Cool deal, man.
Yeah,
You're
and
welcome.
actually,
I told you it would be better the second time.
it's great. Actually, I do have one more question, if you don't mind. How was
Go for
Skywalker?
it.
How was Skywalker Ranch? Was it a blast?
I'm under NDA. I can't comment.
All right, I'm assuming it was a blast. I'll leave it at that.
Well, I can tell you, while we're doing this right now, I'm getting texts from superintendents that are in the bar still talking about what they did today and what they're going to do
That's,
tomorrow.
that's great.
We had about 23 superintendents there today that represented about 100,000 students.
That's killer.
So for them to go back to their school district in 2 weeks, totally excited about the options and potential.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a pretty good day.
Yeah, it's a great day.
And one of the things about that event, which you may or may not have picked up on, is they all the superintendents presented. Everybody presented. Every attendee presented. And the superintendents had 4 minutes to tell us something innovative they're doing or have done.
Right.
And so they're all taking notes going, ooh, oh my God, yes.
Yeah.
And that's really powerful too.
Yeah.
So they're actually forming friend groups based on this event, and they're going to support each other going forward. And it's just what it looks like, because it's really lonely to be the superintendent.
Right.
You know, you're very siloed. You can talk to some people about some things, but not other things. And to give superintendents a place where they can be with just superintendents and kind of let their hair down a little bit,
Yeah.
It's super gratifying to provide that opportunity for those leaders.
That's great. It makes such a big difference too amongst all those schools and all those students. That's
Oh
killer.
yeah.
That's
And the folks that we had come in, Joe Sanfilippo and Kevin Honeycutt, are literally world-class speakers, and they absolutely blew them away. You know, like, for example, Joe showed how he does press conferences to introduce his new teachers. When he rolled out his new high school principal at a press conference, he had 9,000 views and 300 likes the first day. For a 600-kid high school.
That is awesome.
But he also has press conferences for new students.
Oh man, that's killer.
Imagine the superintendent sitting down in front of a step and repeat, you know, so it has a school logo behind you,
Right.
giving you a t-shirt and a beanie and a bumper sticker, and kids in the front row are like, I heard you play football. What is your position? And I heard you like riding quads. And so he's already told those people what questions to ask. Can you
Right.
imagine what a powerful culture builder that is for the
Yeah.
kid who's in the press conference?
Yeah,
And what's that cost to do, dude? That costs nothing.
Yeah.
There's no cost. So he's building culture. He's building kids. And that's huge.
That's
So
awesome.
for him to share it with all those superintendents, I will bet you 50% of them start doing something like that. They're going to go, dude, why am I not doing this?
Yeah.
This is huge.
Yeah. And it's simple.
It's simple.
Yeah.
And it's fun.
Yeah.
That's a good reason to wake up in the morning. Hey, we get to do press conference today. That's a pretty good reason.
Right.
So I like those kind of simple elegance things.
Yeah, that's so cool. Well, man,
I
thank
guess
you.
I will leave you with this one thought, Max.
Yes.
You will always hear schools talking about money.
Mhm.
It doesn't cost a dime to teach better.
That's powerful. It is.
It doesn't cost a dime to do things better and faster. Doesn't cost a dime.
Right.
And what you'll see at schools is you'll see they have a group called School Site Council in California. And School Site Council gets to help put input into how some of the budget is spent.
Mhm.
It's California state law. And what usually happens is the first meeting's in September, and so they usually have like mini candy bars and waters, and they sit around and talk and basically burn an hour and a half on what they did last year. So the next meeting's in October. In October, certain brave people bring up things they want to talk about, and then the people that don't want to do those things are ready. So it turns into a fur ball. So then you have your November meeting, and everybody has now geared back up to have that conversation again. And then you usually have a shorter meeting in December because it's the holidays. The year is gone,
Yeah. Nothing's been done.
and you haven't spent any money. So that means there's no robots, there's no new apps, there's no new tools for the classroom. And so then what happens is schools shut down POs in April. So you come back from Christmas break and the principal's like, oh my God, I got to have POs by March. So now January and February, you would do these little quick meetings trying to figure out what you do. And then you shoot that PO off in April. And you know when the stuff shows up? The stuff shows up in June.
Yeah.
So nobody really owns the stuff, right? So when you get back in fall, they don't use the stuff because nobody knows it showed up. And then guess what you do in September? The first site council meeting for next year.
Got it.
And the cycle repeats. And in the last district I worked in, the last county I worked in, I begged the cabinet in March. I said, you guys, every year this happens. Where in April, the business office calls us and says, you got 20 grand, you got to spend it by Wednesday. Mm-hmm. And we hip shoot some stupid stuff just to burn the money.
Right.
I want to prepare that we all agree to burn 80% of the budget by December.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't do it. They're like, yeah, I don't know, John. What's your point? I don't know.
At least we'll have a chance to put something to use.
I don't know. I can't think of any reason. Aren't you the guys that always say school needs more money and there's $40,000 and you ain't spending it? So do you really need more money? I don't know. I can't think of any good things. So
that's a good point. Yeah.
It doesn't cost faster to pick up. It doesn't cost a dime to pick up the tempo.
Right. Yeah. Leadership.
Yeah.
Sometimes people just need to execute a little bit faster.
Well, I'm a ready, fire, aim guy.
Yeah.
And what we do in school is we do ready, aim, 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 aim. What were we doing?
Yeah.
And we never fire.
Yeah. 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 I do a lot of, like as our family, we have a family business. And so there's a lot of, learned a lot of, you got to execute quick. If you're not, if you sit around and talk about it, nothing's ever going to get done. There's a quote that somebody told me was,
is small thing and do a step. See how it feels.
Right.
Most of the time, you'll say, it's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
What else can we do? But if you always say, I don't want to try it, then you're just the same.
Yeah. Very true. Well, hey, man, thank you. Thank you again. This was awesome. You get some rest. Enjoy the ranch. And I'll hope to talk to you soon.
Will. We will.
All right, man.
Okay, man. Thanks.
Take it easy.